I thought a Rocky Balboa song would have been better, you know, to start a fight, but just joking, Ryan. And yes, I'm here. My name is Joutsen. That's what the Finnish name app said. That means swan. So, yeah. I hope I pronounced this correctly. Yeah, okay. And I've been Laplified like you all as well. So I also downloaded the app. I already was wondering, and I took a pictures and sent it to Italy and said, look, I saw the Northern Lights, so everyone is jealous now, but I don't tell that. So I'm here today to present you, like they asked me, like SoMeT asked me to present a case study that we did with travel bloggers. So I will not like talk about the strategy that we have overall with the digital and the social media part in our tourist board, but I will focus only on this project. And I want to make clear that we are working not only with this project, but we do a lot of other things in the social media. So, like I was talking with Randy before, this is a small piece of the overall puzzle of the tourist board. And before I move to show you what all this project is about, well, of course, now you know that I come from Italy because they said I'm the best dressed man, and as well also because, you know, Emilia Romagna Tourist Board. But before knowing that, how many of you knew where Emilia Romagna is? So, yeah, just a few. And I tell you this because the funny thing is that how I came up to this idea, to this concept, and how I thought we should start to promote our brand, our region as well, online on the social media. The thing is that when we go to trade fairs or we meet people out of our usual, you know, tourists, which are mostly from southern Germany, they know the area well. Some Dutch people know that as well good because many of them used to come in the summer with their mobile vans on the coast. And the thing is when we say, where are you from? Oh, Emilia Romagna. Oh, cool. Is that in Romania? You know, so I said, no, not really. So I wanted to show you this slide about Emilia Romagna is not Romania and spaghetti bolognese. So Bologna is the capital of the region, and every one of you thinks that spaghetti bolognese is a typical Italian plate. That's completely false. You can't match spaghetti with the meat ragu, with the meat sauce. It doesn't fit. If you take the spaghetti and lift it up, the meat falls down. So it doesn't make sense. And if you are in Italy as well and go to a restaurant, to an Italian restaurant, and you see written on the door, spaghetti bolognese, don't enter there. It's a tourist trap. Don't go there. I give you this suggestion. Like you will mostly find this in the usual Italian destinations like Venice, Florence, and Rome, and Sicily as well. So this is my suggestion. Emilia Romagna is, as you now thought, in Italy. So we are located in the northern eastern part of Italy. We go from the sea, the Adriatic coast, till the Apennines. So we have like, you are in like 30 minutes from the sea to the mountains. So we have also mountains with ski slopes. So we are not only a beach destination. And that's also why our promotion in the last year is to push a lot also the hinterland, the Apennines, and to create awareness to the foreign people, also to the Germans, that we are not only Rimini, the party town, discos, and that's it. No, we have a lot of other things. We have the same landscape, almost like Tuscany, because we are bordering with them, but we have the best food compared to them. Because as you see here, this is a plate of tagliatelle ragu. So tagliatelle, it's a pasta made of egg and flour. That's it. And since it's egg and flour, it's really, you know, strong, and it keeps the ragu together, so you can eat that together. But my presentation is not only about food. You already had lunch today. And we are also the home of big brands. You will know them for sure. Ferrari, Lamborghini, Ducati, for example, concerning motors. They're all located in the Modena and Bologna area. And then, talking again about food, Parmigiano Reggiano cheese, Parma ham, traditional balsamic vinegar of Modena, and pasta, of course. So these are some brands that are really well known out of Italy. And I will explain you later also why I now tell about food stuff and also the brands. The objective, like I said before, focusing on the first 4 ones, where like what we wanted to do is to create an awareness. That's because when you ask someone about Italy and coming from abroad and you say, what is Italy for you? They will answer you, oh, Italy is Venice, Florence, Tuscany, Rome, Naples, and Sicily somewhere in the sea. That's not only Italy. That's, yeah, the tourist Italy, the things that people come to Italy and always see. But we said, we are a region that we have most of the excellence of the brands, of the Italian brands out of the world, and we have nothing different compared to Tuscany and whatever. So we need to create our brand and we need to promote ourselves better. So our strategy was focusing in creating, as you see, an awareness, interception of the I hope it's okay. Interception of the tourist stream in Italy. That's because we are located exactly in the middle of Italy, and from Bologna, if many of you know, that came to Italy, all the trains, all the motorways from the north going to the south, they have to come through our region. You have to come through our region. And we are one of the best connected regions in Italy, also concerning transportation. As you know, a big problem in the southern part of Italy is that there is a lack of transportation. The trains are dating back since the Mussolini time, so there is only one track. And we have the luck in our region to have this. So, tools, we have a good tools. We have already people coming through the region. But what they say is usually, oh yeah, Bologna, I stopped there, I changed the train and I went to Florence. No, what I said, what we want to do, we have to keep them there. We have to, like, let's say, we say that Emilia Romagna and Bologna are the door of Italy. So from there they can go out and explore the rest of Italy. And here I come again to the point that Heidi of Southern Norway said, let's ignore barriers. That's how I thought this project. Like, I don't want to think only to my borders, to my region. It doesn't make sense for a foreign tourist. From Bologna to Florence, it's 30 minutes with the train. From Bologna to Milan, 1 hour. So why do I have to say, I have only to promote my region? I say, if they go to the other cities, that's okay, but then they will come back to my destination, they will overnight there, and that's money income, that's good. So we said, how we can start this to see some increase and like to kind of engage the people that come through the region. We said, why don't we work with the digital influencers? The first presentation yesterday of Chris, he said, we also work with digital influencers. So I will now explain you all my story, but as well our story of the Tourist Board with the relationship of working with bloggers from the 2011 to today. So we, as we said yesterday after Ryan's presentation, I'm not angry at all with him, no, because he said some really good points. But I don't agree with all the points, but some of them, I think many of them, are points that came up in the head of everyone of a tourist board, myself as well. And I will show you what we learned in these 3 years. So, that's the first thing we thought in 2011. We have to work with digital influencers. So why to work with bloggers? Maybe many of you already saw this slide, so it's like the different stages of action, we can call it, of a blogger. So like pre-stage, the live blogging using all the social media, and then the post, meaning with, you know, content coming out after the trip, and that's. So that was in 2011 how, you know, we thought about like working with bloggers. What was the difference? Many of the people say, what is the difference between a journalist and a blogger? Many of them said at that time, and some of them still say nowadays, that a journalist comes, sees the stuff, and then wrote his piece of article. A blogger has also these 2 other stages, which is a pre-stage, a during stage, and an after stage. So in 2011, it was October, we gave it a try with a blog trip, and we were looking at other tourist boards what we're doing, and if I'm correct, one of the first ones to work with bloggers was Costa Brava in Spain. So in 2011 we said, why don't we try to do a blog trip as well? So we invited over 5 bloggers coming from Germany and the UK. So they stayed for 4 days, we covered 2 food events, so it's also out of the usual season that is promoted by our tourist boards in those markets, because it's usually in the summer. And what we got was over 19 blog posts published, over 100 photos shared, and 10 videos shared. But what we liked the most was the content, was the way how they, saw the region. They were going around like a kind of a usual tourist is, taking pictures of the different activities. And so we said, oh, that's pretty cool stuff. Like, it gives a different angle and eye of the region, because also before we talked a lot in these 2 days about we have to see what the customer wants, not what we think the customer wants, because many of us at the tourist board as well, my colleagues, I let them read all the content of the bloggers. Like, I share this, and I will show you also different ways how we produce content and how we share that, so that everyone gets aware what that kind of different market reacts and what they see in our region. But the thing about how we came up to Blogville, to the thing of giving an apartment to bloggers. Well, at this trip, I met Cash, this guy. Maybe some of you know him. He is the budget traveler. He has a blog where he writes about budget stuff. And we were staying there together. I was listening also to the other bloggers which had taken part to other trips. And they said, it's the first time you run a trip. It's really well done, but the problem is that the schedule is always too tight. There is a lot of stuff to do. We don't have really the time to enjoy and to, search for the right focus. And when I saw the content coming out, I saw that the best content came out when they had the afternoon free, because everyone went to do what they really wanted to do, but most of all what interested their readers. So, for example, a German blogger, she went for a walk in Rimini on the beach, and she wrote a nice blog post saying, a different Rimini. When you think of Rimini, you Google it, you just see the beach and the party and whatever. But no, in Rimini, 10 minutes from the beach, you have a Roman historical center. You have people there, Italians, not only tourists. So, a different angle of Rimini. Another fact was that usually, as many blog trips do, you want to show them the best. So you overfeed them with food, you go to nice hotels, or sometimes to 5-star hotels. And here in Rimini, we were at a really cool hotel, 4-star hotel. But then Cash came up to me and said, look, the hotel is really good, but I write about budget. I will never write about that. My readers are not interested in that. So that's where I thought as well, maybe we need to give them really the tools that they need to use. So, and that's also where I said, I used to do press trips before, like for 2 years. I'm the youngest in the tourist board. I started to work in the tourist board when I was 23, and 22, sorry. And I started with doing press trips because I'm also half German, so I was looking after the German press, going out, so I knew how that stuff worked. And when we did this first blog trip, it was the exact same as a press trip. But what we noticed, as I said before, was the fixed and intense schedule, and that there was no time to enjoy the real essence of the destination, because what they produce is, as a content is also a storytelling, so it's not a rough guide to a destination. And that also, like I said, the cover theme may be not of interest. So, as I said, the hotel thing, a good star hotel versus a budget travel. So that's how the Blogville idea came out. We met in October with Cash, we talked about it. Then we met 1 month later, it was November 2011, at another conference held in a city that I don't want to say. It's Florence, because they are our cousins, but it's okay. And there I met Melvin from Travel Dudes. Maybe many of you know him as well. And we started to talk about this idea. And as good ideas came out, we talked about it in front of a couple of beers and a piadina. The piadina is this typical flatbread of the Emilia Romagna region. It's really tasty. If you come, you have to try it, and it's really cheap. It's a street food. And that's where we said, why, we talked to Melvin as well about this thing, about how the press trips are similar to blog trips. And then we said, why don't we do, something different? We tried to take a blog trip a step upper, like to go in an upper step. And so we said as well, myself as a destination, to get the most out of the destination of the investment also with working with bloggers, but also to get them out of it, also of the blogger, why don't we give them a base where they can be together and from where they can go out and explore the destination. We give them time, so they have a base. They have the time to do what they want to do, like to go to see the places that they want, that they're interested in, that their readers are interested in, and the freedom as well, so to decide where to go. And I said, okay, let's try it. So in December I wrote the project myself. I wrote a different project because I had to propose it to my boss. At that time my boss, he is now the CEO of the Italian Tourist Board, so he's my former boss. But he really believed in the digital and the new media. Also because he was the first one in Italy to set up an internal web strategy department in the Tourist Board in 2009. So instead of giving money to agencies, he said, I want to do it in-house. So we have programmers, graphic designers, a social media team, so we do everything in-house since 2009. We were one of the first one in Italy as a region to do that. So I wrote the project and they said, based on the experience that we had with the little blog trip that we have, think about the long-time blogger coverage that we will get if we do something bigger like this with a base which lasts longer. Think about how much content will be generated, like blog posts or videos or photos, and also the different themes and markets that we will cover, because it will go from budget to luxury, to cars, to food, to mountains, to the sea, so everything, and also the exposure on the different social media channels. So he said, okay, let's give it a try, also because the whole thing was really cheap. The investment for the first year in 2012, which was 3 months of apartment and project with over 40 people, was not even around the 30,000 euros. So it was pretty cheap because a big budget of the party, half of it was to rent the apartment. Also because as a tourist board, as a public organization, we weren't able to go to a private person and say, hey, I want to rent your apartment for 1,000 euros. No, we had to go through an agency, and that's a problem because, you know, with the VAT number and whatever, so you need to justify these costs. So I said, okay, let's give it a try. So that means that an important thing of this, of working with Blogger, but as well, is the trust. So you need to have a trust in bloggers, which you work with. We gave the trust as well to the people of the region, because these bloggers were on their own in the apartment, going out, exploring the destination, without having someone behind them saying you have to see this, this, and this, and this. No, they were experiencing it like a local. That's also why the motto is live, eat, and feel and live like a local in Italy. Of course, the trust of the bloggers in the DMO, ourselves to run it, and also the trust in myself from the bloggers, but also from my boss. So then we started, and in January we did a website that was a sort of vitrine website for the bloggers, where there was a form where they could register and send it to us because they were interested in taking part of the project. How we managed to get this website and form around through the bloggers, because many times I got asked this question about how you reach the bloggers. We did it through the bloggers we worked with, so Melvin and Cash. So when we launched it, the project, like after not even 1 minute, also BBC Travel retweeted the concept, and they said taking blog trips to epic heights, and that was 2012. And we got over 60 requests in not even one night coming from bloggers. But a big thing yesterday was as well, how do you select the quality? What are the different things? We here are in 2012, and we learned a lot about the selection, about how we are, where we are nowadays. So in this join now form, they had to give all their information. I asked also about the media pack, and also to links to other articles they wrote for other magazines, for example, and stuff. And we went through them and we read them. But an important thing was that we wanted to cover different markets. But the first difficulty was that since working with those bloggers, which are mostly European and English speaking, like you get to the North American bloggers, to the Australian one, and to the European one. So on the first year, we had mostly people coming from Europe, North America, or Australia. And we had 3 months. They were staying approximately 1 week in the apartment. And we only provided the accommodation. We haven't provided any flight, nothing. Like the thing was, if you're interested to come, like many of them were already in Europe for other projects or linked that connection for other projects to our destination. And then we supported them in the activities. That means that the week before they arrived, I emailed with them. Once they were selected, I gave them all the information about the region with our website and everything. And then we're looking after what our region has to offer. And they were getting back to me saying, when I'm there, I would like to cover this theme, and this theme. So our aim as a tourist board was to put in action all the process of getting in touch with the brands, getting in touch with local providers. And that was the first time where we kind of opened some doors of big brands. Not everyone, but nowadays we are at a good point, and I will show you later where we are now. So we started really small with this project. Like, we didn't have like enormous expectations. We just give it a try. We had experimentation. Of course, I was, like I said before, not focusing on the borders of my region. I was also pushing people, if they wanted to go to Florence or to Venice, fine, let's go. What they did was producing content saying, Venice, really beautiful city, magic and everything. But I suggest you to stay in Emilia Romagna and use it as a base to explore than the rest of Italy, because it's cheaper, it's more local, not so touristy, and you get more of a feeling that every one of you is looking after when he comes or she comes to Italy, which is the dolce vita and the good food. And then in the first year we had also in the weekend a one-day organized trip where everyone came together of the apartment. We had usually 3 to 4 bloggers in the apartment, and we went to visit a destination of the region which was maybe more difficult to reach. So it was like a small blog trip, but lasting only like 1 day. And it was really, I like to call it in a Blogville style, really relaxed, like just one activity. For lunch, they didn't get like 5 meal courses, but only, you know, light salad, a light pasta plate, because these people have to work in the afternoon. I don't want to have people that just sleep around and are lazy on the bus, or drunk, for example. Also because in some of the blog trips that happened because they were like, you know, overfilled with, well, yeah, take it. And mostly in the Mediterranean countries, like also for me, it was really difficult to fight with the nonnas in the kitchens. No, why? You just eat this plate. You have to eat more. And say, no, they need to, you know, to be relaxed and everything. So the duration and location. As I said now, 2012, we had 2 apartments. One apartment in Bologna, from April to May, and one in Rimini on the coast from June to July. We did that because Emilia Romagna is kind of 2 regions in one region. There is the Emilia, which is the northern part, and there is the Romagna, which is the southern part with the sea. In Emilia, we have many big factories like Ferrari, Lamborghini, Ducati. In the Romagna, we have loads of wines, the coast, and everything. So we said we take 2 apartments because our fear was that from Bologna, they weren't going like to the Romagna, but it wasn't like that. They went everywhere. And what we noticed with the apartment in Rimini was that it was a little more difficult for them to reach other parts like Parma, Reggio Emilia, or Modena from there because they lie too far. So that's because in 2013 we said we just have 1 apartment in Bologna. We want also to promote and push the thing Bologna as the door of Italy, Emilia Romagna, then to explore afterwards. So in 2013, we increased the project for 6 months, from April to July and from September to October. This is how the apartment looked like. What we provided was, of course, Wi-Fi. It's more important than water for them. Mobile Wi-Fi to get out of the apartment. That's because in Italy we have a problem that we have a law that doesn't permit like that the Wi-Fi is free. So like not free that you have to pay, but you have to get registered. And you need to have, you know, a special the document and everything. Then portable charger, a survival pack of typical products, master of the house that it was me, like to coordinate everything, and the Blogville card, which allowed free entry access in the different sightseeing of the region. The hidden work, I call it that. It's like always be available 24/7, flexible to every kind of need. There are different arrival and departure times, and what we learned from the first week was that, from the first year was that we allowed people to come on Tuesday or on Wednesday. No, I said this time let's do Monday to Monday, because I have the cleaning service coming. It's like running a small bed and breakfast, so they have to come every Monday to change that. 2 years of Blogville. Here are a couple of numbers. Like we had over 120 bloggers coming from all around the world. In the second year, we focused last year on new markets that are interesting for us, like Brazil, China, and Russia, so the BRICS market. And so we had also bloggers coming from the different niche of the usual English bloggers. These were like over 600 published blog posts. We have every week till now like 2 to 3 articles getting published about the region, and so on. These are some of the social media numbers as well. These are also really good to show to the boss, because they want to see instant numbers, but for me, this is not the most important thing. I will come up in a couple of minutes to the long tail thing. I said we had Chinese blogger. Here is a part of, we talk a lot of ROI, of how do you see the transformation of something that they wrote to a booking. We had this Chinese blogger who went to this little pasta class in a little town. He wrote this article. The day after, the director of this cooking class, of the cooking school, called me and said, you know, overnight I had 2 bookings from China. One of them was of a couple who was doing the honeymoon. They read on Weibo the article, and they changed their plan from Venice to Florence to come and overnight there and do the pasta cooking class. And in the email they attached as well the photos. We want to do what he did. And that's really important. What we do with bloggers is always something that everyone can do. Don't let them do crazy things like going into space nothing can afford that. Maybe the 50 million, 5 people, but that doesn't make sense. Media combination, that's really important. I'm sorry I will be 2 minutes late. Media combination, because everyone thinks bloggers are only online. No. Here are 2 cases. I have many more, but I just resumed this. This is an American blogger. She writes more about food. She wrote an article about how to do the tagliatelle with the ragu. And the daytime show in the US called her and said, we loved your post. Why don't you come to the show and do it? So she did for 10 minutes. She showed how to do the pasta. But the fun thing was in the background, we were scrolling all the pictures that she took while being there in the region. And she was telling her experience about the region. So it's again different, content coming out, but always promotion of the region. As well, next to it is a newspaper. That's the 4th most important Brazilian newspaper in the Curitiba area, in south of Brazil, so where the people has the money. And there was this Brazilian blogger we worked with last year. She wrote tons of articles of the region. And this newspaper asked her, can you do a 4 pages insert of the Emilia Romagna region? So again, crossing. So it's always about crossing. It's not, you don't have only to think about only online. The traditional media is still important, like TV, the paper, and the radio. Long tail, like I was telling before. We have a prolonged content publishing since we started 2 years ago. There is still content coming out. We are interacting with the bloggers. And they become, like we were talking about before again, as a brand ambassador. They are pushing also our destination with this hidden exposure nobody talks about. But when a blogger approaches to you, and I say it always to the blogger as well, don't always come and say, here is my media pack. No, show me as well examples of emails that you have with your readers. Because many of them at night, they exchange emails with readers that say, I'm in Italy, what do you suggest to do, where I can go? And I get these emails as a feedback, I want to get them. So the bloggers, not everyone of course, because we learned how to work with and who not, but they send me these emails. These are important, they're like a sort of, travel consultants via email. So this is an aspect, and I tell it always to the bloggers, but I haven't seen nobody else doing that, going to a tourist board and showing them also these examples. This is important for us, to know that people actually come to the destination because they were influenced, in this case, by them. What to do with the content? That's the last one, then I finish. There is a big problem. Ryan was saying that yesterday as well. You have to know what to do with the content, because many times now, especially in Italy, it's really fashion to do blog trips because everyone does it. So let's invite some people. We get the money from the public administration, but then you get some content. Never know if it's good quality or not because you just select random people. But what to do afterwards? A couple of examples. We did an ebook done by the bloggers about the region in English. We launched it last week and it got over 6,000 downloads already. So it's the region seen in a different way. Combination in the institutional websites. We are not really copying and pasting the articles inside our websites, but there is like a preview, and clicking by them, it goes to the blogger's website where a tourist can read all the experience. And also photo and video archive. It's really important. Every tourist board has a database. We increased a lot our database because some of them take really good pictures, and so we get from them the photos and the videos. What's next? This year we joined forces, again talking about like breaking the barriers with the Lombardy region, which is where Milan lies, to promote the areas that are bordering our both regions that suffered the earthquake 2 years ago. So it's the towns of Cremona, Ferrara, Mantova, and Modena. But as well, because for us it's important, next year in Milan there will be the World Expo be held. And since it's concerning about food, we want to bring those people down. So in only 40 minutes you get from Milan to our destination, and that's important. So that's it. Sorry for being a little too late. I focused too much in the first part. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Nicola. Any questions or comments for Nicola? Where's Ryan?
I'm here.
We'll have a beer later, no problem.
No, but the thing is, we agreed on so many things.
Yeah. No, what I try to do now is I agree with some of, with many things you said, but I try to show also what you can do also in other ways, like, because many of the people, they just think bloggers come, they write an article, that's it. No, you have to think wiser, you have to use the content. Like you said, you need to spread the content, and a thing that I forgot is that this project opened us the doors like to companies like Ferrari and Lamborghini. They are sharing the content of the bloggers. They have like 15 million fans on Facebook, on whatever, and the bloggers are happy because they get the views, but it's a work done by them. So I think you need to collaborate, like we said in these 2 days. Private companies, like Eindhoven said, for example, we did as well a list of good companies and bad companies to work with. But it's increasing. Every year the people are really interested in working with us, not only for the bloggers, but to do other aspects of promotion.
But you do something that's smart, and that is you vet all the bloggers. What I was saying yesterday about 99% of bloggers being bad, it's true, but you're working with the 1% that are good because you're researching all the bloggers, and you're vetting them, and you're determining who's good for your market.
Yeah, that's, of course, in the first year, we had also bad people.
Which is us too.
Yeah. And also last year, a couple of them, but since we focused to new markets as well, I was really surprised by the Chinese one, by the Brazilian ones, and also the Russians, by the content that they provide. So.
And the reality is the really good bloggers should be actually working with us to get rid of the bad bloggers, because it's the bad bloggers that tarnish their name and make it more difficult for them to get any contracts or work.
Yeah, that's what I tell them every time. It's like, you have also to help tourist boards to stop all these blog trips because it's only fashion. Because in 2 years' time, I say it to the tourist boards as well, you will say, hey, we did this blog trip, it didn't bring nothing. So, sorry for the bad word, but, fuck the bloggers, we don't work with them again. But no, I say to the guys, you have to show them better, and so that you get rid of these people, like you said, that do a 1 year round trip, and that's it, and then the blog disappears, Or
who take the Blogville or Bloghouse contracts knowing that their market and readership aren't right for it, just so they can get the free trip, like
exactly.
So much up in the Mauritius trip.
Yeah, that trip, I don't know, really the backgrounds, But I think I'm sure I've met so many people that they write to me like, oh, I want to come, I want to do this and this and this, and I write back, okay, this activity costs 50 euros, this 70. You can go and do that. But why? I am not allowed to do the free thing. You have a blog that you don't update since 1 year, and you have to make a selection, not just to take we say in Italy, every dog that comes,
I have
Should we pay for one?
Oh, yeah. The thing is, the first year when we developed this strategy, we haven't paid any blogger. But since last year, like the campaign the first year was really good, my boss said, we have kind of to give a recognition to the bloggers. So since then, Melvin and Cash joined the, I don't want to make publicity, but the ambassador team. We gave a fee to them because of the developing of the concept, but that was also a reward from last year, and it wasn't like for us a big expensive, because in the second year for 6 months we spent 80,000 euros.
Can I say something on this too?
Yeah.
Sorry, I know this is your presentation.
No problem.
We have paid bloggers, and I've worked with bloggers in the past. Where when I said yesterday, don't pay bloggers to go on a press trip, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If they are coming to you and asking for free accommodation to do something that they want to do, don't pay them. If you are trying to get them to write branded, targeted coverage tied up in line with your marketing pack and your marketing plan, that's when you need to start thinking about paying them.
Yeah, for example,
you're kind of telling them what you want them to say in a way.
yeah, for example, the ebook was done by 2 bloggers.
Yeah.
They are graphic designers. They did it, they got paid to do an ebook, but it was for us cheaper than letting it to do it to an agency. And they have all the connections, and also the bloggers that were featured in the ebook with the photos, they got a fee, a really small one, but it's important because they're still producing some quality content that we are using for our promotion and marketing campaign.
Oh, but be aware, if you pay them too much and it's just for the links, you're going to get screwed.
No links.
No.
Never links. I never did that kind of stuff. Also, I never told to a blogger, you have to write 5 blog posts. I say, you come, you write what you really want to write. Because if I had to say to someone, you have to write me 3 blog posts. Maybe the first one is good and the other 2, like you said, are just complete 10 things to do, there. And that doesn't bring any return to me, for example.
Great. Thank you so much, Nicola.
Thanks.